This one shouldn't be too long today, because the session itself was a nice, quick, and efficient one. It's been a very long time since I've bilaterally squatted, and if I'm completely honest, it didn't feel great. I've really become accustomed to all the unilateral squatting that I've been doing in the last 3 weeks, and I felt quite uncomfortable under both legs, which seems weird to say. I've been doing a lot of running, and I've been back to my martial arts training, and pretty much every sport is done unilaterally. If you're exploding and moving fast, you're never on 2 legs to do that. So yeah, it was strange, but it was quick. It was nice and quick because I had a really busy day ahead of me, and I got very close to a 1 rep max on the front squat. I was somewhat inspired, and this is what the basis of this video is going to be about. I'm just going to reply to a couple of comments that I received in the last few days. Or not a reply, just give my outlook on them and my response. Some of them were good questions, and some of them were good points. And one of the points that was made to me in the 140 kg failure squat video, high bar back squat video, was that someone noticed that I have long femurs, which I do. I've measured it, and my femurs are, I believe they're like between half an inch and an inch longer than my torso. And he said that, a gentleman said that you should probably try front squatting. It would probably help you stay more upright. And whilst I haven't front squatted on this channel before, I was spent most of summer like getting back into the front squat. So I took that comment on board and was like, okay, cool. Well, today I'm strapped for time, and unilateral squatting is way more time consuming than bilateral squatting, because obviously everything you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So I gave it a go, and it felt good. It felt like I said, I felt uncomfortable on both legs under load. However, the front squat itself felt nice. Like reconnecting with that movement was really quite nice. And I worked up to about 95 to 98% of my 1 rep max. The most I've ever pushed on a front squat is 105. And to be fair to myself, that was when my body was only just acclimatizing to the movement. I was only just really pushing myself in that movement. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks prior to pushing that 105, I failed 80 kilos or something like that. So it was more of an acclimatization period than an actual improving my 1 rep max period. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to say thanks for that comment, because I feel like I would have been more inclined to get under that high bar back squat if it wasn't for that pointer, which I feel like was a really valuable one, due to me just coming so far away from bilateral squatting in general, since I had my quad issues. But now that my quads are getting much better, and some days I'm even forgetting that the discomfort's there because it's not there. And another thing I wanted to briefly discuss, this is going to be a very brief one, because we'll talk about this topic as I develop greater understanding of it over time, and how when my ideas surrounding it evolve and grow. And this gentleman like rightfully queried and pointed out that, isn't there a risk of burning yourself out if you're training to a high intensity every day? Which I responded to him and said, yes, like you're not wrong. Because he also exclaimed that rest days are essential, and that if he trained intensely every day for 2 weeks, he believes he'd be burnt out. And I find, I've briefly touched upon it in previous videos, but I find that our idea of rest is quite skewed. I believe it's quite skewed. And I believe that we are all subject to a huge element of, I don't want to say brainwashing, that sounds very dramatic, but conditioning throughout our lives. And that's only natural and that's only normal, considering the way in which society is, how would I put it, is laid out, considering the way in which society works. We are all raised to be conditioned to some capacity to gravitate towards a set of beliefs. And I was initially exposed to the idea of rest days, i.e. going home and doing fuck all, being useless, from Ivan Juric. And his whole philosophy, which I believe, I remember him mentioning not too long ago, he referenced Squat Every Day by Matt Perryman, which is a book that I've almost finished now. And I really like the concepts from both Ivan and Matt. And Ivan's concept is quite simple. Blood flow stimulates recovery. And sitting on your ass does not stimulate blood flow. So why would you sit on your ass in an attempt to recover? It doesn't make any sense. It goes against human biology. And Matt Perryman, from what I personally have got from the book so far, he's big on the idea that the majority of burnout is actually mental rather than physical, and that we can and we do allow our bodies to adapt, to recover based on the training loads we put them under. Now, that doesn't mean that yes, of course, it's a given that any human body is eventually going to fail if it's working at 95 to 98% of its maximum intensity every day. It's going to hit a brick wall. But another thing that Matt Perryman touches upon in the book is the harsh reality that barely any of us know where our limit is when it comes to training. And I can almost guarantee you that barely anybody, bar a handful of people, are working anywhere near close to their limit on a daily basis. So the idea that little old me, who just goes to the gym every day and some days himself doesn't even feel like he's trained that hard. And funnily enough, I was somewhat anticipating some criticism that, oh, you're not actually training that hard, Whereas I got the opposite. I got aren't you going to burn out, bro? Like, why would you train every day? I'm sure that will still come, but I found that kind of funny that I was anticipating the opposite criticism, because I don't feel like I train that hard every day. I don't. Like, resistance training isn't my sport. It isn't my priority. It's my, on a personal level, it's my, how would I put it? What's a good way to coin it? It's my safety net. It's my protection against injury and against overuse when I do what I want to do. Right now, I only train in martial arts twice a week. And that is largely down to facilities. Where I live, there's only one gym, and the only classes they offer that I'm interested in are on twice a week, which is somewhat unfortunate, but somewhat perfect for right now, because it means that when the time comes and I move to a different area that maybe facilitates more training, my body's going to be able to handle that extra load far better than it would now. It's a rest. It's an interesting one. And I'm grateful for that comment. I'm grateful for, I'd never shy away from being questioned or being, having my ideas questioned, because that's what you create a YouTube channel for at the end of the day. I remember my friend telling me about how Hamza, if you don't know him, he's a manosphere YouTuber, so to speak. And he told me that he once said, creating a YouTube channel is one of the best things a man could do, because he pits his ideas against the world and puts them against the greatest litmus test, which is everybody. So, thank you for that. for that question. See you tomorrow. P.S. Before I go, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that showed nothing but love in the comments as well. I didn't expect to get the amount of love that I've received already from what seems to be a lot of Ivan followers as well. So shout out you guys, man.